carbon capture companies, leading the way in carbon sequestration. In the fight against climate change and global warming, we all support the shift to clean, renewable energy and the preservation of our precious rainforests. The problem is that these solutions will take decades to reach the scale needed, and we can't wait that long. We must act now to curb new carbon dioxide emissions and mitigate historical emissions to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. In this video, we cover some of the top carbon capture companies and the innovative technologies they're using to combat atmospheric carbon dioxide. What is carbon capture? Carbon capture or carbon sequestration is a process designed to capture and divert carbon dioxide, CO2, emissions from the source and prevent them from being released into the atmosphere. The captured carbon dioxide can then be stored underground or utilized in various ways to reduce its harmful effects on the atmosphere, the environment, and climate change. Leading carbon capture companies. Let's take a look at some of the top carbon capture companies and the incredible technologies they're using. Carbfix. Based in Iceland, they're pioneering carbon capture by turning carbon dioxide into stone within just a few years. Carbfix is based in Iceland and their technology captures carbon emissions at the source from the emitter, power plant or other industry. Carbon is then dissolved in water and injected underground, into naturally occurring reactive rock formations of suitable composition, basalt. Here, the carbon reacts with elements that are naturally present to form stable minerals. These stable minerals provide a permanent carbon sink and over time they turn to stone. This process was thought to take hundreds of years to occur. However, the Carbfix pilot project undertaken in 2012 showed that they were able to achieve the desired result within just 2 years. This makes their technology unique and highly effective in capturing carbon and storing it in a safe, stable, and permanent manner. Global Thermostat. Operating in the US, their patented technology captures carbon directly from the atmosphere and sells it for reuse in manufacturing. Global Thermostat uses specialized proprietary amine-based, dry, chemical sorbents, which are bonded to honeycomb ceramic monoliths. The ceramic monoliths, coated with the dry amine-based sorbents, soak up or absorb carbon from the surrounding atmosphere. This may be directly from open air or concentrated emission sites like flues or smokestacks. They then strip the carbon back out of the monoliths and collect it using low-temperature steam, 85-100C. This results in 98% pure carbon, which can be transferred to locations where it is needed by other industries. As a modular system, their technology can be established alongside new and existing plants or industries that are heavy carbon emitters or alongside plants that need the captured carbon for their operations. As a modular system, their technology can be established alongside new and existing plants or industries that are heavy carbon emitters or alongside plants that need the captured carbon for their operations. CO2 Solutions by Sapim. This Canadian company uses a natural enzyme to capture up to 99.95% of carbon emissions from industrial smokestacks. CO2 Solutions' carbon capture process uses a patented industrial form of carbonic anhydrase, a natural enzyme that enables respiratory carbon management in all living organisms. Their technology allows for carbon to be captured from installations or sites that produce it as a waste product and then reused or converted in the industries that need it. Operations that need carbon to operate but also produce carbon emissions can use the technology to capture their own emissions and then reuse the carbon, which eliminates their greenhouse gas emissions and saves money in the process. Net Power. In North Carolina, they're using an innovative cycle to generate low-cost, emission-free electricity from natural gas. Net Power's electricity is generated by burning natural gas in the presence of pure oxygen, rather than air. This is more efficient and eliminates nitrogen oxide, NOx, emissions from the process. The carbon that is released from the burning of the natural gas is then recycled through a series of steps that heat, cool, and compress it to result in low-cost and emission-free electricity. Carbon can then be recycled back into the plant for use and excess can be piped away for reuse by other industries. This adds financial incentive to use the method, in addition to the inherent low-cost production model. Quest Carbon Capture and Storage by Shell. Shell's plant in Canada uses Quest technology to capture carbon emissions from their crude oil plant and store them permanently underground. Quest's technology is fairly simple and uses an amine to absorb carbon. The carbon is then separated from the amine and compressed. This turns the CO2 gas into a liquid, which is then piped away to be injected into porous underground rock formations. The liquid CO2 is piped 65 kilometers away from the plant through various well sites and then injected over 2 kilometers underground, onto suitable porous rock formations. Here, it will remain for thousands of years and is considered a permanent solution. Climeworks. Based in Switzerland, they capture carbon directly from the air and partner with Carbfix for underground storage. Climeworks uses modular CO2 collectors that capture carbon dioxide directly from the air to remove unavoidable CO2 emissions, as well as historic CO2 emissions. The collectors can be stacked to create machines of various sizes, as suited to the location and end use of the carbon collected. Climeworks carbon collectors use a two-step process, where the air is drawn into the collector by a fan, where it is collected on the surface of a special filter material that is inside the collector. The next step takes place when the filter is full and the collector closes. Once it is closed, the temperature is raised to 80-100 C, which releases the carbon. It is then collected in its pure and highly concentrated form, ready to be piped away for reuse or underground storage. Carbon engineering. In Canada, they capture carbon from the atmosphere and either store it underground or convert it to synthetic fuel. Based in Canada, carbon engineering captures carbon from the atmosphere for underground storage or to be converted into fuel. It uses an air contactor, where the air is pulled in by a huge fan and passes over thin plastic structures that are coated in a potassium hydroxide solution. This solution removes carbon from the air and binds the carbon into a liquid solution, where it remains as a carbonate salt. The air is then released, minus the carbon. In conclusion, these carbon capture pioneers are essential to combat current and historical carbon emissions. While renewable energy is the ideal, carbon capture is our lifeline as we transition to a cleaner, sustainable future. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, visit www.mindsetico.co for in-depth insights and guides on all things eco-conscious.